Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Well, in developing news tonight, a 10-year-old boy has been rushed to the Northwest Regional Hospital after he was mauled by a shark in the state's northwest this afternoon. Our reporter Garth Burley joins us from the hospital. Good evening, Garth. Now, what is the condition of the boy tonight?
Good evening, Kim. The young boy is in a stable condition after what would have been a terrifying ordeal this afternoon. He was fishing with a group of men off Stanley, 5 kilometres out to sea, when a shark grabbed him from the boat. His dad then jumped in to save his son, and the shark swam away. The boy suffered cuts to his head and chest as well as lacerations to his arm. We spoke to bystanders as well as the Mayor of Circular Head earlier. This is what they had to say.
Pretty horrified actually, because it's something we haven't heard of in our neck of the woods. People will look after each other here, and we will do what's necessary to help this family.
Yeah, having a fish and obviously chucking a few flathead frames in the water as they was cleaning their fish, and it's obviously attracted something. And then the shark has leapt up out of the water and grabbed the little boy. Shark has hit the boat very hard. It's actually dented the boat, put a big nice 2-inch dent clean in the side of the boat. Yeah, honestly, straight into shock. The poor fella. It's and a freak accident, like something like that is really unheard of. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that, ever, apart from on Jaws.
The last fatal shark attack in Tasmania was in 2015 when a diver was mauled by a great white off Maria Island. But Kim, thankfully tonight in this case, the young victim is in a stable condition.
Well, in other news, a Hobart coroner has been unable to pinpoint the exact cause of the sudden death of a Warrane man. Paul Christopher Thompson was punched by his housemate, but the court heard there could be other explanations for his death.
A grieving family leaving an inquest last year into the death of Paul Christopher Thompson. Today, they weren't able to attend in person, instead by video link as the findings were delivered. The coroner outlining the case, saying the 57-year-old was punched to the face in a drunken altercation with his housemate Lawrence Keane at their Warrane unit in January 2017. Mr Thompson was found dead several hours later by Mr Keane, who was then arrested and charged with manslaughter. He was then released from custody in 2018 due to public prosecutions finding no reasonable prospect of conviction. Coroner Olivia McTaggart said she strongly suspected homicide due to the past violence in their friendship, saying Mr Keane's blows may have been only one of 4 explanations, including a drunken fall, a seizure resulting in a fall due to the deceased's medical history and acquired brain injury, and a spontaneous bleed on the brain. But a precise cause hasn't been determined, with the coroner saying the other explanations remain open and telling the family directly, "I understand you may have been seeking answers different to my findings." In another matter, Coroner Simon Cooper found to the requisite legal standard Jeffrey Donald Crowden is dead after disappearing in the waters on the state's west coast in 1990, saying the 22-year-old likely drowned, suffered hypothermia or both. Ruby COMMANE, 7 Tasmania News.
Conservative campaigners are vowing to fight a bid to enshrine voluntary assisted dying in Tasmania's laws. MERSEY MLC Mike Gaffney plans to introduce the draft bill before the Upper House next month. It's an emotional debate for countless Tasmanians.
What is it like to face your own death and witness the suffering of others?
Well, the thing I noticed being on the cancer ward in the middle of the night, there's a lot of people suffering, yelling out that they want to die and they have mental breakdowns, including myself. That it's a horrible thing to see people that they've given up.
Matt Burke's nasal cancer is now in remission. It could return at any time. If it does, he wants the choice to end his life.
If it comes back, there's no treatment. I'm gone.
MERSEY MLC Mike Gaffney says it's stories like Matt's that show the need for change.
I think they should have the right to choose a better exit, one that they can do on their terms, surrounded by their family and friends, and not waste away or suffer.
He's planning on introducing a draft voluntary assisted dying bill in the upper house next month, but he's facing opposition from a new group.
People with even type 1 diabetes or chronic asthma could qualify. So there's no requirement that the person needs to be dying to access this bill.
That's not correct. What Ben has forgot to say is look at the finer detail of that definition about intolerable suffering.
Ben Smith is no stranger to conservative causes and works with the Catholic Church.
But the group that we're representing, have a broad spectrum of views, and I think essentially protecting the vulnerable is our key common ground that we share.
Matt and fiancée Rhonda are hoping to marry soon, so the hard question now: where to honeymoon?
I haven't even got that far yet.
Hoping New Zealand opens at least, or somewhere, yeah.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
And if you or anyone you know needs help or this story has caused distress, then you can contact Lifeline on 131114. 3 people have been taken to hospital following a 2-car crash on the Bridgewater Bridge. The entire causeway was closed for around 2 hours while authorities cleared the scene. Police say one person was trapped inside one of the vehicles and had to be extracted by emergency services. The 3 people were transported to the Royal Hobart Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A Greater Hobart Mayor is at the helm of a renewed push for council amalgamations. Kingborough Mayor Dean Winter is calling for Tasmania's 29 local government areas to be reduced to 9. It comes as a majority of councils are facing significant deficits in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic.
What it's going to take is state parliamentarians to make some hard decisions. Yes, it's not going to be universally popular, but in the long term, Tasmania needs to have a more streamlined local government.
We went into the election with a policy of no forced amalgamations, but of course would encourage local governments to talk with each other if there are ways to work more efficiently.
The Minister says he's willing to talk to councils about amalgamation proposals. Every uniformed police officer in Tasmania on the beat now has access to a body-worn camera. More than 700 of the high-tech devices have been rolled out across the state.
This gadget has become a staple of every officer's uniform.
The presence of the camera alone acts as a deterrent for people. We have seen a reduction in the number of assaults over comparable periods.
Over the past 2 years, the devices have been sent to stations across Tasmania.
Clearly, if there's a diversion of views around perspectives and context of a situation, quite often the camera footage is used to essentially clearly spell out exactly what did and didn't occur.
Police are known for protecting the community. Now they're also protecting themselves.
It does give our officers a much more stronger feeling of comfort and confidence. They are deployed not full-time but only upon necessity. It's usually when police officers are exercising powers or performing an official function.
The state government says it has ticked off a 2018 election commitment.
The rollout of the cameras, of course, was $3.4 million over the cameras, 751 cameras.
Every frontline officer in the state is assigned a body-worn camera each shift, with a device capable of recording for 12 hours straight.
It's another tool that we use in a modern-day policing context, and one that we consider to be vital.
LETITIA Wallace, 7 Tasmania News.
But just recapping our top story now, a 10-year-old boy is in a stable condition at the Northwest Regional Hospital after being pulled out of a boat by a shark. The boy had been fishing with his father and 2 others off the coast of Stanley this afternoon when the shark attacked.
The shark has hit really hard and it's grabbed the boy and pulled him clean over the side of the boat, and he's ended up in the water and let go, and the father, with his natural instincts, has obviously jumped in after his son and managed to grab him and get him clean back into the boat. And a freak accident, like something like that, is really unheard of. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that, ever.
The boy suffered cuts to his arm, chest and head. Locals believe the shark was a great white, but that hasn't been confirmed. Tasmania Police says it will increase patrols at local campgrounds following repeated reports of vandalism. Pictures shared on social media this week show damage at this campground at Meters Falls on the state's east coast. It follows another discovery by Hydro Tasmania at the Catagunya boat ramp in the Central Highlands.
The vandalism is deplorable. I simply don't understand why people would choose to do that. It makes no sense. The images were quite confronting.
Police are encouraging anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers. Bragging rights will be on the line this weekend as the TSL women's competition kicks off for the first time this season. North Launceston will lock horns with crosstown rival Launceston, who was something to prove after a gut-wrenching end to last year.
9 months on from a grand final heartbreak.
Clarence, underdogs, haven't got near Launceston all season, somehow win.
Launceston players no longer feel pain but desire.
They're eager to get back out there and build on what we had last year and hopefully rectify what happened at the end of the season.
The side only lost one match last year. Sadly for them, it was the most important one, but bolstered by a raft of new recruits, along with the return of North Melbourne AFLW player Mia King, they're hoping to be a dominant force in this year's campaign.
We'll have Jennifer Guy, Mia King and Daria in the midfield, and I think they're going to be almost unstoppable this season.
The first assignment is not an easy one against crosstown rivals North Launceston. The young side has lofty ambitions heading into only their second year in the league.
We've said that the premiership's our goal and we aim high, so we'll work towards that.
Both teams are expecting round one to be a rusty outing for players, but are thrilled to be back on the park after the longest of pre-seasons.
It feels like it's been forever since we've played football, so they're so excited to get out there.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
And Tasmania's top soccer players turn their attention to the regular season with the restart of the NPL this weekend. Launceston City looms as the competition's dark horse after a victory over the Devonport Strikers in the Lakos Seljak Cup, and they're not allowing for complacency.
So we're just keeping our feet on the floor. We know it was an important win against a fantastic team, but it's only the start.
I think the performance on the weekend would have given the lads a lot of confidence, but for us it's getting that consistency that we can do it week in, week out.
City travels to Darcy Street to take on South Hobart Saturday afternoon.
Good evening. Liawini, a low of -9 this morning. However, the coldest day there was -12.2 in 2013. And just for the record, Tarraleah and Butler's Gorge hold our record low of -13 in June 1983. So this morning, not that cold at all. Hobart today, 11 degrees. That was chilly. Launceston and Devonport, a top of 13, 12 today in Burnie. The warmest was 14 at Friendly Beaches and King Island. Flinders Island, Smithton, Low Head, St Helens and Strawn, all 13. Grove, 11. Liawini warmed up by 18 degrees today, reaching a top of 9. Some patchy low-level cloud over the North and Bass Strait, otherwise clear over Tasmania. A long stretch of high bands of clouds stretch right across southern WA through to the Southern Ocean. Most of the country under sunny skies, though, a bit off the east coast. Tomorrow, a ridge of high pressure lies over New South Wales. A pair of cold fronts and lows cover the bight. Another high to the west. Northerly winds at 20 to 30 knots over the north and northeast, increasing to 35 knots in the west during the evening, swells to 3 metres. We have a gale warning that's from southeast Cape to Sandy Cape and a strong wind warning for remaining waters between Wineglass Bay around to Stanley. And a road weather alert warning of ice on the roads in southern, eastern and central districts. Saturday, Hobart, mostly sunny and 12. 10 the high for Medina, 9 the top for Oatlands. Another cool start right around the state by the looks. 1 for Launceston, early fog, possible drizzle, 13 the top, 12 for Devonport. And Liawini, early frost, -4 to a top of 5. Burnie, 12 tomorrow, a little drizzle, possible late shower for Strawn, 13 the top, 13 for Marrawar as well. St Helens tomorrow, a high of 13 degrees, a bit of cloud about, Swansea the same, and 12 for Orford. Sunday, showers for most areas, less likely over the southeast, a possible storm in the west. Showers as well on Monday, contracting to the west, central and south, possible morning storms and hail in the west and far south. And on Tuesday, a shower over the west, south and King Island. A shower in Perth, partly cloudy in Adelaide, a cloudy cool day in Melbourne, partly cloudy as well in Sydney, a top of 18 there, but sunny in Brisbane. Clear in Hobart, 6 at the moment. Clear in Launceston, 6 as well, and 5 degrees right now in Devonport. And for those that have booked time up in the Highlands over the next couple of nights, you may have a little bit of snow for the next 2 nights as well. Great to see so many people booking little short stays away around the state, Kim.
Ah, and you're referring to me there because I'm up there next weekend.